Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and to another Flames of War battle report mid-war. So first up, apologies, in my haste to get this all set up, I forgot to do a video for the army lists. I try my best to cover it after deployment, but it's not quite the same, but you can see the army lists in the introduction. But other than that, you're in for a treat because we have Frank from Panzerschule playing against me to give me some well-needed tournament practice. So if you watch my videos, most likely you already are watching Panzerschul's videos. If not, there's a link in the description. Frank is brilliant now because he does like kind of a double battle report now. So one way it's just like a recap of what this one is going to be today because it's a remote game, or a full length battle report which will include dice rolling, groans, swearing, and frustration, which is always good to see. But normally that's what I do, but because we won't even see Frank's dice anyway, and to make it a little bit quicker, we've done that. And another thing as well, we have introduced a time limit, because obviously in a tournament there's time limits. We've kind of allocated a little bit more time for this video because obviously it's remote, takes a bit longer, but we are fully deployed before the timer starts. So we feel this is a good reflection of what I will be up against in the tournament. But again, I'm using my Crusader and Honey Armoured Squadron. I haven't lost yet, but with what might be coming up in the tournament, they might struggle. And I think, well, it's definitely the first time the mid-war British have played mid-war Soviets, but I don't think I've played against Soviets with my British, which is going to be annoying because the T-34s, although they are reckless, front armor 6 and they have a good gun, so, and he's got a lot of them as well. So this is the first time I'm really up against sort of a similar list, you know, a horde of very cheap, nasty stuff. Not my stuff is that nasty really, but I hope you enjoy. And just feel free to make a comment if you see anything interesting or any rule queries. But yeah, hope you enjoy the video. So in my haste getting deployed for this battle, I completely forgot to film the army. So we'll have a look at the table and we'll have a look at the army. So Frank is using a T-34 tank battalion consisting of one T-34 for the HQ, a unit of 5 T-34s, an SMG company with 15 teams and a commissar, and 6 82mm mortars. And then reserve, still in formation, we have 2 units of 5 T-34s. So for me, it was the same as last game. I have a whole Crusader Armoured Squadron in reserve, so the HQ with 2 CSs and a 2-pounder, and then 5 units of 3 Crusader 3s and 1 Crusader 2. And then have a honey formation, so I have the HQ right by here with 2 troops, and then the other 2 troops are here. And then we have the 25-pounders, the dingoes, and the 17 25-pounders back here. Frank does have a lucky card, and I have no command cards, but I do have an OP, which is there. So you can see the mission is Dust Up. Frank got to pick this nice little gem over here. Oh, and he does have the support of the little armoured cars by there. So it could be an interesting mission. Obviously, we'll have to roll to see who goes first. This little clump will be tidied up a little bit pre-game, because obviously we were just sorting deployment out through Messenger, which isn't ideal, but there we go. So Frank got the jump on me, rolling better than my 1, so there you go, first victory for Frank there. Movement wise, obviously he's quite cagey for Frank. Ideally, I think Frank would have liked to have gone second to unleash his mortars. But what he has done is occupied this house with 2 teams, and he has a guy here. So just basically kind of cutting me off for a quick advance along this way, and he's keeping everything else still. So no shooting, and we go into British turn 1, where I have no motivations to do, which is nice. Okay, so British movement, the honeys have moved tactically. Hopefully I can pick off 1 or 2. Actually, I'm going to move this guy in a minute. So some honeys move down this way, the HQ is moving down this way, and then we got a unit moving there. Might be able to pick him off slightly, maybe we shall see. And then we got a few more Honey's moving there, and the Daimler's moving up as well. So I will get the first chance to range in. Maybe I might get a clump of them and limit these mortars a bit, but that's it. So we'll come back after the shooting. So British shooting, just peppering away at the line. So the 25 pounders ranged in first time, got a bunch of hits, but I couldn't convert anything with them. Got a bunch of hits with my small arms from the Honeys and Daimlers over here, but no kills. These guys absolutely leathered the guy who was out in the open. And these guys actually managed to kill a guy in the building with their machine guns. And over here, I managed to kill and bail the scout cars. So going into Frank's Soviet turn 2, there's a lot of motivations to do. And hopefully you can get some stuff and we'll see some reaction from the Soviets. Coming back after the motivation phase, this guy got back in, so these are all good, and the mortars and infantry have rallied, so watch out 25 pounders or 17 pounders, they could be in trouble now. So let's see what happens after Soviet movement. Okay, Soviet movement. The HQ tank is moved here. The important reason it is moved, it is now within 8 inches of these people at the front, so that means it will add defensive fire if I was to assault with my Honeys, so that's very clever there. And these guys have moved up. Only one of them is just in range of the closest Honey that isn't blocked by this wall, but why not in it? And that's a tactical move from those guys, so they can do it. So no movement on the scout cars, and the infantry here are going to ground, and most likely the mortars are going to be firing some rounds as well. So we'll come back and see what the damage is. Okay, Soviet shooting started with the mortars ranging in about by here, which annoyingly got all 4 of my 25 pounders, but because the green needed a 6 and unfortunately the 5s weren't enough. The HQ T-34 missed the Honeys down here. This T-34 missed a Honey, but I knew these guys would prove useful. They got 2 hits on the Honeys. I bounced one, and one unfortunately went through. So we go into British turn 2. Again, no motivations to do, so we'll come back after movement. Okay, British movement. The HQ and a troop of Honeys are moving down into the town. Maybe get some shots off on the infantry here. OP's moved into short range, and these guys have stayed put, and these guys are just moved around a little bit to shoot at stuff in this general direction. So we will start off with the artillery and see what happens. Okay, so again, being able to pin this infantry down here, but that is about it. I managed again to get a kill with an MG on a mortar team, but still not enough to basically knock them down for being very dangerous mortar teams. And up here, all I managed to do is bail these scout cars. I bailed them a lot, but they're okay, but it does mean Frank needs to get them both in to get them in, and it's also the first attempt to bring in reserves as we go into Soviet turn 3. Okay, so Soviet motivation, these guys did not get back in. We have a rally test successful on all the infantry teams again, but these guys did pass their last stand, so not quite undoing what I did in my shooting step, but still being particularly annoying. And Frank rolled a 5 for reserves, so we get the next unit of 5 T-34s coming in, bringing their total to 11, and that's already 11 more than I can really deal with at this point in time, but we'll see where they come from, and maybe my guns might actually start doing something. Okay, so Soviet movement. The T-34s here, the little move around, so these two moved just so they can get squeeze a few more shots onto these Henny Stuarts over here. The reserve unit arrived from this point here, did a cross-country dash to there. In doing so, they needed to move this mortar team. And this guy has a clear shot onto my HQ, long range, but unfortunate. And a few guys under this template have moved. So one has occupied this building, the commissar has moved up, and this guy has moved here, and the guy has moved up there. So just thinning out what I can hit under that template. So we'll see how effective Soviet shooting can be. Okay, Soviet shooting, they started off ranging in over here. They got a second attempt and managed to kill a 25 pounder. The HQ managed to bag himself a tank, but I mistaken targeted, so he only took out one of the guys from the platoon. And these guys, the guys who moved, needing 6s, got 2 6s. So basically this platoon is now toast. But the only motivation I have to do is my 25 pounders as we go into British turn 3, and I have a chance for reserves. British motivation, 25 pounders have rallied, and I have a unit of reserves coming in, so it'll be a unit of Crusaders. So we'll see what happens after movement. British movement, Honeys and Daimlers are moving up. These guys, I was tempted to go for the HQ, but they're just going to go by here instead. Shoot down this way. These guys have gone into cover, and the Crusaders are hidden behind this ridge line. So we're going to start with the shooting phase, and I'm going to use my OP to try and range in the 25 pounders onto some T-34s and see if that can get rid of some of them. Okay, so I stuck with where I was since the T-34s don't have that much to shoot at yet. So 25 pounders actually killed someone, which is nice, and managed again to pin the mortars and the infantry, who will rally again because they're pretty confident. I did fire at the HQ. I know I needed Frank to roll 1s, which he didn't. And then I killed another SMG team with my Honey Stewart firing directly into the building with the main gun, since they moved and this guy was giving them away, and everything else isn't firing. So we go into Soviet turn 4. These guys still need to get back in. These guys need to rally. And then there's another chance for the T-34s to come in and completely swipe away this little thrust by here. Okay, so the scout cars, one of them got back in and they passed their last stand again. The infantry did not rally, which is interesting. The mortars did, and the final unit of T-34s is coming in. So well done, chaps over there. So we go into Soviet movement. Okay, the scout car, which Frank is calling the clown car, who's doing quite well, is staying put. T-34s here have moved up just to cover this objective. These two have stayed put because they can see these Honeys, and these 3 have moved up onto this little bit of a ridge here, also to see the Honeys. Infantry tried to dig in but failed, and these T-34s have come in at an angle, so only one 25 pounder can see them, and that is it. So see, there'll probably be quite a few losses on this side of the table for me, and we'll come into see how bad it is. So Soviet shooting, just wanted to check shooting scoots. So the mortars are really being annoying. They got rid of another 25 pounder, which I think was one of the ones who could actually hit the T-34s down here. And the T-34s killed 2 Stuarts and bailed another, so most likely he will go. And that was it. So we go into British turn 4. Pinning motivation, rallying, and last stands going on now. So let's see what happens. Okay, so failed to get my guy back in, failed to rally, failed the last stand, failed to get any reserves in. So it might swing my way at some point, but we will see. So we're going to go into movement. Okay, so the only thing that's really attempting to do anything this turn is the Daimlers, because they've gone into the side of the T-34s, and the Dingo's going to try and go for this mortar who's not dug in. 25 pounders can't do anything. There might not be much left of them anyway. And everything is just ducking in and hiding in this part of the table, so tall terrain is blocking line of sight. And these Crusaders are shuffled over just so these T-34s can't shuffle over and get them. So we'll go into shooting, but all it's going to be is some plucky Daimlers. So I bailed a T-34, and that was it. So I did get a hit on the mortars and did have a chance, but I did not convert. So we go into Soviet turn 5, and I think the feel the Soviets are going to start getting a bit of a squeeze on now, so let's see what happens. Okay, these guys have not got back in and past the last stand. Infantry have rallied, and this guy didn't get back in, so getting the Daimlers, your hard work did sort of pay off in the end. So we go into Soviet movement and find out what they get up to. Okay, so Soviet move-in. Basically, a bunch of guys now have occupied this building and this building now, so they're making a push for that far objective. HQ managed to get into the Palm Grove here, so you can shoot him. Blocked off now, but you can still get a shot there, but these guys have moved around to finish off the Daimlers. 2 failed cross checks on T-34s here. This is where it starts to swing, guys, and these guys have stayed put. So we come back after shooting. Okay, so we got 1 Dingo and 1 Daimler blown up, with another Daimler bailed out. Means I have a chance. And no hits on the 25 pounders. So that was it for Soviet turn. So now we go into British turn 5, and let's look at the motivations first. Okay, so didn't get back in, but stuck around. So, well, the mortars can't do anything, but an infantry team is going to be able to get rid of him. But these guys have rallied, so well done, guys, I suppose. Not much more they can do, really, because they're having to re-roll everything. So we'll come back after British movement. I get 1 unit of reserves in because I failed to roll on everything else. So it's pretty much just a matter of building up my strength over here. But I think even if all my Crusaders got on, I'm really going to struggle against these T-34s here. Okay, British turn. So more Crusaders are now behind the ridge. These honeys are now getting ready to shoot into the building. These honeys are going to try and get rid of these scout cars, maybe. And these 2 have dashed around this way, trying to stay hidden from T-34s by the tall terrain. And that's it. So I might try and re-range in now. Yeah, I think it's about time. So I'm going to probably range in on this massive T-34s over here, and hopefully I get lucky. So wish me luck, everyone. Okay, so British shooting. I did try to range in by here. I've got 1 or 2, and I think then got another 2. Didn't get that 3 in the end, but I needed 4 to range in. I didn't hit the scout cars. I got 1 short of pinning the platoon because you need 8 hits on them. I got no kills, so then I fired the 17 pounders needing 6s to get 1 more hit, and I failed that. So yeah, it's getting a bit... Oh, we turn 6 we're on. So it's getting a bit interesting. But eventually I will start killing stuff, hopefully. So we'll get back to you after Soviet motivation. So the scout car is back in, and the T-34 is back in. So we'll come back after Soviet movement. Okay, movement-wise, one of the T-34s got out, the other one again, 2 1s for him now. Pity the armor saves couldn't be like that. The HQ got out and they moved here. These guys couldn't dash, remember, because there's a team there. But they did do a tactical, 2 of them, to go for my HQ Stuarts. And this guy, the unit leader, so making sure they don't suffer any negative effects of shooting, is actually sticking his neck out on the line with a 25 pounder and a 17 pounder. More SMG teams have filled into this building, so this building is full, so the roof is now required, and 1 has moved here, tactical speed, to finish off the Daimlers, and that is it. So we go into shooting. Maybe another 25 pounder will be gone. That might be it for them. So we will see after Soviet shooting. Soviet shooting. Mortars got 2 hits over by here, but luckily no kills. Well, it was all down to firepowers. These guys managed to kill and bail 1 of the HQ tanks, and the assault phase would have happened. He would have gone in, killed, consolidated, back out. So that's done there. Frank did have a little thinker shooting my OP, but that is going to be it. So we go into British turn 6. Okay, so Henry Stewart got back in, and the guys here rallied, and I got 1 more unit of Crusaders in. So we will come back after British movement. So I was hoping for maybe another unit of reserves would be nice, but they're all on the ridge apart from 1 2 pounder, which was going to aid into firing onto the scout cars. These honeys are moved over, and these honeys are moving over as well, still getting cover from the tall terrain. But luckily it is short, so you never know, it might work. But we'll come back after shooting. Okay, so I started off with a smoke barrage from the 25 pounders. They at least managed that. The honeys missed their targets. The first unit of Crusaders did by far the best. The 2-pounder missed. 6-pounder got a kill and another 6-pounder got a bail. And then the next unit of Crusaders missed everything. And then the next unit of Crusaders got all hits, but they just didn't hit their mark. So we go into Soviet turn 7. So we got a remount, and then that's it. So do you want to do your remount and then we'll get into your movement, Frank? Yeah, he's back in. Okay, Soviet movement. The guys are pushing up. They did a follow me to get here. Remember, these guys can charge 6 inches as well. So these guys are Gary Goners. T-34s and HQs going up to back them up. This is the guy who just killed the Daimler. And there's another guy is left here as well. T-34s finally got out of the woods. And these guys have crabbed a crossover, so they're behind because they're firing onto elevated terrain. They'll be able to fire over their guys, apart from this guy who has had to dash to get here. So I might not have any Crusaders up on this ridge line. I'm very pessimistic, but we'll come back to you after the shooting phase. Okay, so the T-34s managed to kill one of the Stuarts. Over here, I lost from this platoon a Crusader 6-pounder. This platoon got completely wiped out, and then this platoon got one bailed out. And now we're coming into the assault and see how it goes. Okay, so I managed to get 2 of them with defensive fire, but unfortunately the 25 pounders didn't make it. I did manage to counterattack, so there was a bit of valor there in the end, but it didn't go well. So we have turn 7 for the British. I have a lot of motivations. Well, only the one motivation. Do I only have one bailed out 6-pounder? And a guaranteed one other unit of reserves to come in, and the last stand on 1 unit of honey. So we'll come back and see if that was successful. Okay, so this honey is sticking around. Good on him. And yeah, so basically I had the rest of my reserves in. So there we go. Unfortunately, could not remount that Crusader. But well, it's all on this now. Okay, so HQ honeys are moving in to try and get rid of this infantry, and I got another unit of honeys. They will get sneaked up by here, but I will get some cover fire with at least one of them. Well, depends where he goes, but I'll run that risk. And then the Crusaders are on and being helped by a honey OP as well. Keeping your on the ground on him because maybe, you never know. So plenty of shooting now. Everything's starting to get into a bit of range. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, shooting over here. I managed to wipe away the infantry. And these 17-pounders managed to bag themselves 3 T-34s and bail another one. Over here, an entire formation minus 1 unit. I managed to kill another T-34, bail 3 more, and finally finish off the clown cars. So, kind of needed better than that. But we will see what happens in the next Soviet turn. Okay, so none of these T-34s got back in, but they passed their last stand. This guy got back in.
I'm going to use it, sorry to interrupt, I forgot my lucky card. I'm going to use my lucky card on that last stand.
For the infantry?
Yeah, still.
Okay. So, because the infantry lost their unit leader, means they're no one's in command. So it means they don't need to do the last stand. I trust Frank, he knows what he's doing. They failed, and as you just heard, Frank using his lucky card, failed again. So all of those SMG teams are gone, so it's just the mortars back here, but there's still a HQ T-34 and a unit of the T-34s there. So Frank said he's probably going to go defensive, which definitely on this flank, which is a good idea, but we'll see what happens after Soviet movement. And basically, we've only got 20 odd minutes, otherwise it's going to be a draw. So movement summary, the mortars are moved here. When the unit leader did follow me, but they failed. These guys are moved around, dashing just to hide. And these T-34s are not moving. They're going to return fire onto the Crusaders. So we will come back after the shooting phase, which is just going to be these 5 halted T-34s. So could be painful. Okay, so this unit of Crusaders is dead. And this guy's bailed out, one of the close support tanks. So we have British turn. Do I get my stuff back in? Okay, so everything's back in. Nothing's running away. Oh, I have the last stand on this Honey Stewart, who sticks around on a 6. So we will get into British movement and see how it goes. Okay, British movement. My Crusaders are pushed up, my OP is moved around, and these Honey Stewards are moving as well. They can move the OP in this one guy, so he will have one concealed shot on the T-34, but I don't think it'll come to anything. And then basically let's see what happens after the shooting phase. Okay, so basically it's exactly how it was at the start of the turn. I did hit. It's just, Frank, I think you didn't roll less than a 4.
I didn't feel a single save that turn.
No. 4s, 5s and 6s across the board, even with the side shot. So I stuck my neck out as well as I could, and Frank will have one last turn, so we'll see what happens. So these two are back in, and this guy passed his last stand. So let's see what happens. Okay, so we've ended up calling it a draw because Frank can't win in his turn. He can kill my Honey formation and really batter my Crusader formation, and then my last turn I wouldn't be able to finish. So I think if the tournament rules say we just wouldn't be able to do it, and I wouldn't be able to win in that turn either. So we've called it, and basically we were both chatting. We both didn't think we were going to win at the start of the game either way anyway, so I think we're both right then, because no one won. So in this...
I think you were unlucky with the mission and the terrain. If you've been able to deploy your 17-pounders to support your tanks, I think you would have smashed me bits quite easily.
Well, to be honest, though, think of it if it was more of like a mirror. Well, I know this is a mirrored, but you know, if it's like side to side battle, my 17-pounders can only be in one place anyway, and they're the only ones that seem to be able to do anything against you. Because I hit you so many times with 89 and just nothing, even at short range, and hitting you on 2s as well. And that last turn of shooting, even my firepowers weren't the thing that ruined me. But it was a good game, and as you said, the biggest threat to winning the game was the SMG company. They were the only ones really who almost did it, but then the Honeys were the ones. Yeah.
That was my one chance. My intention was to try and get rid of the 25-pounders and then move on to that objective. And if it worked, great. If it didn't, I couldn't see how I could sit or even go near that objective with the 17-pounders, sit in the back, get rid of the 25-pounders, move on with the infantry and try and survive a turn. If I didn't do that, I thought that would probably be it.
But so my man of the match for you, and you pick my one. I'm gonna pick your mortars because they just outcompeted my 25-pounders and also opened the road to do that. And if they had ranged in on the 17-pounders, I think, you know, that I wouldn't have been able to get rid of those T-34. So for me, your 82mm mortar teams are MVP for you. And now you have to pick something out of my below average group.
Well, it wasn't the 25-pounders, that's for sure.
No.
They'd have been a bad day at the office. What platoons are so alike. It's probably going to have to be the Honeys for keeping that side alive.
Yeah, I think. I think HQ Honey.
In the end, against my flank, so.
Yeah, and it's like, I think it's like probably the first. Oh no, they survived second game I played with them, but usually they're the first formation to break because they're usually the ones who start on the table. But They have got a good amount of machine gun fire, but yeah, but I'm more than happy with the draw because I was nowhere near these objectives. But yeah, food for thought for the tournament, and yeah, need to have a bit more practice. But yeah, looking forward to having a practice on your channel. Hopefully,
Well, I was thinking we're probably going to do it on your channel again, right?
yeah,
I don't really have the figures for the list you want to play, but I'm more than happy to come on and give you another practice again.
yeah, either that or I'll do a late war battle with you because be happy to get on your channel
Yeah,
again.
we'll get that done at some point in the future and keep your practice on just now.
Oh yes, yes, it is good practice. But the worrying thing for me is, from what I think will be coming in the tournament, these T-34s are quite lightly armored compared to them. So it is worrying, very worrying that well, at least I know the 17-pounders can do stuff, which is good to know when they actually stuff comes into their range, which most of the time won't. But yeah, but until then, everyone keep safe, and hopefully I might get to see some of you down at Nationals. I know Tom, you will be there, but yeah, hope you enjoyed this one, and sorry it ended up being a draw.